Shalom, shalom, Akim. So up again, I'd like to start off by giving our praises, honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Kakurash. All right, double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations unto the elect. All right, I want to say Salakia for any background noise that may occur. All right, it's a beautiful day out today, so I just wanted to be out here, and talk about, the sufferings that we have to endure and the type of attitude we have to take. And really, I just want to add on to what I was getting into yesterday about the story of the seven brothers and the mother who were killed. Okay, so it's not going to be long at all, this video. Uh, but I just wanted to add on to it. So this is the book of First Peter, chapter 4, and verse 1. So then, since Yahushua suffered physical pain, you must arm yourselves with the same attitude he had. Okay, so Yahushua, while being on that cross, he was obviously, in pain. He suffered physically. Okay, he was in pain. Yahushua didn't die no light way. Okay, Yahushua died in a very, very horrific way, and we always get into it. He died a very physical pain for our sake. You know, so just like he had to suffer that pain, we gotta suffer that pain as well. Okay, and we have to have the same attitude that Yahushua had. And that attitude being, okay, this is what we got to go through in order to get to that kingdom. It says, and be ready to suffer too, for if you have suffered physically for Yahushua, you have finished with sin. You won't spend the rest of your life chasing your own desires, but you will be anxious to do the will of Yahweh. Right? So we are anxious to do this will of the Lord. You know, that's why and I can attest, I can speak for myself, that the moment I wake up, I start planning my day. I want to make, a lesson for the Lord as soon as possible, because of the fear that I have, and the protection that I want, the protection that I want from just Slocky and my cat um, trying to get out, but right, just the protection. And you know, once you wake up, you start thinking about what you can do for the Lord, or what video you're gonna make. You start looking on the news. Is there anything that popped up? You know, and you start really just having an attitude of fearing and serving the Lord. You know, your whole your first priority. Yeah, you had to get stuff done. Yeah, you had to go to work. Or maybe you like me, you have school. You go to college and whatnot. You have to do your studies as well. You can't just be failing, but you also have to understand that, okay, you know, let me not play video games. Let me do something for the Lord. You know, let me not just sit around all day, watching YouTube. Let me do something for the Lord. You know, a part of being I'm mad at the Lord is you know just being physically active. Okay, just being physically fit, being physically active. You know, because that'll callous your mind to make you mentally stronger. All right. It says, you have had enough in the past of the evil things that godless people enjoy, their immortality, the immorality and lust, their feasting and drunkenness and wild parties, and their terrible worship of idols. Right. We don't want to be looked at like a damn ninja. We don't want to be looked at as someone who just parties, as someone who just, you know, the scriptures say to be unequally yoked together. So that's exactly what you try to do. You try to separate yourself from the crowd. It says, of course, your former friends are surprised when you no longer plunge into the food of wild and destructive things they do. So they slander you, right? Okay, they slander you. They tell you, uh, oh, he's just crazy. They talk shit about you. They look at you weird. They look at you funny. Yeah, of course they're gonna slander you because you're different than them. You know, you have a certain level of self-control, of self-discipline to not eat whatever the hell, whatever the hell everybody else eating. Okay, you're not eating fucking McDonald's every day. Yeah, you might go out with your woman, you might go out with your family or even the Akim. Okay, but it's not like an everyday thing where you're just indulging in fast food, you know? It says, but they remember that they will have to face the Most High, who stands ready to judge everyone, both the living and the dead, right? So Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to judge everybody. Okay, and the Lord is not a respect of persons. All right, so if you truly, haven't been doing what it is you got to do, okay, if you haven't been putting in that work, you know, the Lord is not a respect of persons. Okay, now he may show favor to your family through you. Okay, and that's ultimately, that's a big motivation or that's a big motivation, for the brothers, you know, being able to save your woman, being able to save your family, you know, but it's more than that. Okay, this is something we have to suffer for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to show your favor to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay, and in exchange, the Lord is going to have mercy upon you and your household and your family. You know, I'd be lying to you if I said that I don't want the Lord to save my woman, or I don't want the Lord to save my family. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you know, um, I'm gonna do what I gotta do for the Lord, so that He may have a protective hedge over me, and to be separated from these other people. Okay, so that the Lord look upon me and say, hey, no, this one's different. Keep him. You know, keep this one. Matter of fact, keep his family too. That's how you want the Lord to look at you. All right. So it says, but it's like it says, this is why the good news was preached to those who are now dead. So although they were destined to die like all people, they now live forever with Yahweh in the Spirit. Obviously, we know that spirits come back. Okay, spirits never die. Okay, so once your body dies within 3, 4 generations, your spirit comes back. Okay, it says the end of the world is coming soon. Therefore, be earnest and disciplined in your prayers. Most important of all, continue to show deep love for each other, for love covers a multitude of sins. Cheerfully share your home with those who need a meal or a place to stay. Okay, that's talking about the brothers. That's talking about the Akim. Okay, you got to be able to help out your brothers, or the Akim, the Akwat who may need help. Okay, during those end times. Okay, because like we said, we saw the scripture say, the devil cometh, roughly paraphrasing the slack. I forget how it says. Let me actually just bring it out. All right. This is Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. Right. So the Esau is going to come down with Esau is going to come down with great wrath. All right. Esau is going to come down with great wrath. Okay, and I'm gonna grab one more scripture and I'll close out. And I'm just gonna hit the point on this one. Second Esdras, chapter 7 and verse 56. For while we lived and committed iniquity, we considered not that we should being to suffer for for it after death. This is the point. Verse 57. Then answered he me and said, This is the condition of the battle, which man that is born upon the earth shall fight. Right. Okay. This is the condition that we are fighting in. Okay, because it's a fight. You know, uh, like I said, I made a video not too long ago talking about different spirits wanting to, you know, basically take control over you. You know, different spirits trying to take control over you. All right, you have the spirit of the Lord in you, battling, battling the wicked demons on you. You know, so it's a everyday fight. But that's pretty much it. That's the point. Okay, so Lord willing it was edifying, Lord willing it was uplifting. Okay, just keep your head up, Akim. Okay, we're almost out. That I say shalom.